Hi, welcome. My name is Nancy Price, and we are going to begin a few series, today beginning with Peter Green, who is one of my longtime clients. I really have enjoyed working with him for the past 10 or 15 years because Peter was originally someone who believed in psychics because he actually worked with a few. Prior to that, he was skeptical. So you're really hearing a very good description of his experience working with me and working with other people who can give him readings, as well as doing coaching, which is what I'm trying to explain in these next few clips, that what I do is a combination of readings and coaching. So today, I'd like to introduce Peter Green. Hi, thanks so much for coming by and talking to me today.
My pleasure. Good to see you.
I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your background. I know that you did some work with a psychic before.
I knew Linda Georgian, and I had just been involved in a strenuous lawsuit that actually she helped me prevail in. And she said, "What are you going to do now?" And I said, "Not much." She said, "How about going to Hollywood, California with me, and I'm doing a TV show out there with Dionne Warwick." And I said, "Great, what do you want me to do?" "Well, you can be my manager because already I'm losing money and things are not working because the people that are running it are taking advantage." I said, "Sure." So I ended up going out to California. Initially, I was her manager for Psychic Friends Network with Dionne Warwick. And I was able to renegotiate her contract for her. And plus I met a lot of psychics. And I have a little bit of a science background. I was not a real believer, so I figured I would try to quantify what their abilities are. So I would have a list of questions that I knew the answers to, and I would interview the psychics, ask them to give me an answer. And I found that they ran about 85, 86% accurate. One thing I was not able to quantify, because I just didn't think about it hard enough, I guess, they would come up with things that I didn't ask that ended up being true. So it was a phenomenon I was not used to. And then I tried to rationalize by saying, well, I took some biology. Birds and animals know when to fly south, when a hurricane is coming, when the weather's changing, but that's usually tied to at the very least, changes of barometric pressure, changes in the length of a day. Plants use that so they know where to turn. But I really never fully understood how you all do what you do. However, when I met you, I had a bunch of business things going on. And I just say that when you practice like I do, I was more or less a sole practitioner. I didn't have a lot of employees the last 5 or 6 years. You second guess yourself a lot. And when I would call you, without telling you which way I was leaning, I would just give you the information. Somehow you came up with an answer that again was 85 to 90% ended up being the correct answer. So I guess that's why I keep in touch with you weekly and check in to make sure I'm not making emotional decisions, which we all do, versus logical decisions.
Yeah, I really enjoy people who are skeptical. I really think that they're my favorite people. So you can say that you don't believe in all this hooey, and it's fine with me. And all I'm doing to begin with is just searching deeply into your subconscious mind, because you've got all the answers. And so you can say it's intuitive or that it's something that's instinctive, but when you run it by somebody like me, I think it's really important for you to open to that possibility.
Right.
And then what I'm trying to do is sort of a hybrid of doing readings, but also coaching. So you get the reading, and we talk about all these very, very sort of deeply hidden things in your subconscious mind. We get that to surface, and then every week we do a little coaching, which will hold you accountable for what it is that you want to change, because you are what you're thinking. You're attracting everything that you're thinking about.
Well, I do quantify you a little bit. If you'll notice, I call you or text you almost every other day with an item that you either predicted or told me which way to go, and I say, guess what, you were correct. The only times you're not correct is when you zero in on a time frame.
Right, timing is very difficult.
Yeah, but for the most part, you're not that far off.
For me, it's almost like looking at a painting. Where does it start? Where does it end? Is there time? I believe there is no time in spirit. So I'm just looking at the general, the general issue and outcome, and not how long it takes to get there.
Right. The other thing is, I've been in a lot of business meetings. I've even been told this myself with seasoned business people. Oh, you're imagining this. Oh, you're running from ghosts. Don't listen to that. Don't believe that, et cetera, et cetera. And I think we all have those kind of fantasies. And when I talk to you, you pretty much separate fantasy from or reality from fantasy. So we don't. Basically, the fantasies, particularly if they're fear-based, cause an avoidance.
Right.
Which is one of our instinctive drives, the fight or flight mechanism. And we have a tendency to make a decision. You help me with that decision, whether to stay and fight or whether to get out of Dodge and flee.
Right, right.
But that's another one of the things we're faced with all the time. So I find it very helpful, and you are tuned into me.
That's really nice to hear. So I'm trying to explain with some of these clips that we're doing, and you're going to be helping me with that, trying to explain how a reading works versus a coaching, and how what I'm doing as a hybrid, including both of those things, can really help change thinking.
Right.
So I wanted to be able to change your thinking into positivity and not fear-based thinking, because fear-based thinking doesn't really get us anywhere.
No, but it's an instinctive drive. You're not going to get rid of it. It's embedded in our subconscious mind.
Are you familiar with the chakra system?
I've heard it.
Okay.
It's I'm trying to think. It was a Japanese thing with the massages and the chakras. And
Yeah, well, it's Buddhist, Hindu,
Right.
Mostly Asian, and the chakra system kind of mimics the pituitary gland and all the hormonal things that are going on with us. But it's spinning vortexes of energy, and the first chakra is fight and flight, and you mentioned that. So fight and flight, and it responds to the color red and to the note A. So if you're involved in a fear-based, kind of situation where fight and flight is definitely in place,
Right.
you probably want to listen to, Beethoven in the key of A. You want to, put red on, look at red, and make a decision that isn't based on fear.
I'd rather call you
Okay.
and say, hey, listen, I don't want to do this, but I'm sort of obligated. Can I get out of this, or should I go forward? And you'll come back with, no, go forward. You'll get a lot out of it. You'll find out it was much better than what you pictured.
Right. Well, I think you're right that the fear-based thinking or first chakra fight and flight mechanism is always going to be there.
Yeah.
Whenever you're making big decisions.
Yeah.
And how nice to be able to talk to someone who's not connected to your business dealing in any way, shape, or form. It's not, I'm not going to make money by this and try to influence you in a certain way.
But a lot of successful people will say, well, I wasn't hindered by holding myself back. one of the best interviews I ever heard was George Steinbrenner with Barbara Walters, and you know how she would ask the off the wall questions, and she said, so George, tell me about all these successes you've had. How did you have them all? He says, I can't tell you about any of them. And she said, well, why? He said, because I don't think about them. What I think about are my failures. I can tell you every failure, how it happened, why, when, where, and what I learned from it. And he said, if you want to be successful, make friends with failure. Don't hold yourself back. Go forward. If you fail, that's part of the game.
Right.
And that's how you become successful.
Right. I love that. Well, thank you so much for today.
My pleasure. Nice seeing you again.
Nice to see you.
We'll do it again soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me today, and you'll be seeing much more of Peter Green and other guests as well, where they can give you an idea of their experience working with me, and hopefully you find this interesting. Thanks so much. Thanks for joining.